Did you know there is a single upgrade that can add hundreds of square feet of usable living space to your tiny house on wheels? Keep you 100% road legal. Costs under $600 in basic materials. And the whole thing folds up flat in under 60 seconds? I know, that sounds like a YouTube thumbnail lie. But I promise you it is completely real. And today we're going to walk through exactly how it works, what it truly costs in 2026, how to build it yourself, and the one mistake that can make the whole thing useless on moving day. Stay with me to the very end, because I'm saving the best part for last. I'm going to reveal which type of fold-down porch roof system gives you the best combination of weather protection and the fastest fold time when you need to hit the road fast. That answer might surprise you. Before we get into it, if you're new here, this channel is all about real, affordable, practical tiny home content. No fluff, no sponsored fantasy builds. Just the stuff that actually helps you build smarter and spend less. So hit subscribe right now and make sure you tap that notification bell so you never miss a video. Alright, let us get into it. Here's the core problem with tiny houses on wheels when it comes to outdoor living. In most US states, the Department of Transportation caps your road legal height at 13 feet 6 inches, your width at 8.5 feet, and your total length at 40 feet. Industry pros call that height limit 13.6. And it is the invisible ceiling your entire home has to clear on every highway overpass, every bridge, every underpass between here and wherever you're going. So what does that mean for a porch? It means any porch structure you add to the exterior of your THOW cannot push past those dimensions when you're rolling down the highway. You cannot just bolt a permanent covered deck onto the side and drive away. It does not work like that. But here is what builders figured out decades ago, and what is now becoming seriously popular in the tiny house community as of 2025 and 2026. You can build a porch deck and a porch roof that fold completely flat against the wall of your home during travel, and then deploy in minutes when you park. When folded up, the structure adds almost nothing to your road profile. When folded down, you have a real outdoor living room. Greg Parham of Rocky Mountain Tiny Houses, one of the most cited builders on this topic, described it this way. Fold-down porches allow you to have a larger porch without taking up any of your trailer floor space. And when it is time to pack up and move, they fold up and will not add any length or wind drag during transit. That is the whole concept. Fold up and go. Fold down and live. Now let us talk specifics. There are 3 main approaches people use in 2026, and each one has real advantages and real drawbacks. Before we dive in, one important distinction. A folding loft roof like you see on some structural THOWs is an engineered load-bearing assembly. A folding porch roof is an accessory structure. The engineering loads are completely different. Today we are talking about the porch roof system, which any skilled DIYer can tackle without a structural engineer. Keep those 2 things separate in your head. Type 1. The classic fold-down porch with a fold-down roof panel. This is the original genius design. The porch deck is hinged at the base of your door and folds down flat to become your outdoor floor. At the same time, a matching roof panel is hinged at the top of your door frame or along the eave line and folds down to cover the porch from above. When both are up and the house is road ready, the porch becomes part of the wall and the roof panel sits tight against the exterior. When you arrive at your site, you release the latches, lower the floor panel, prop or chain it up at the correct height, then release the roof panel and it swings down overhead. According to Greg Parham's detailed breakdown, the porch frame is typically built from 2x2 square steel tubing in 11 to 16 gauge. Steel is preferred over wood because it is lighter per unit strength, and it does not warp or rot with weather cycles. The roof section is often made from corrugated metal cut to size and bolted together. The sizing math here is important. If you have 96 inches of vertical space between your eave and your door bottom, a common split is roughly 42 inches of porch depth and 54 inches of roof depth, with a roof designed to overhang the porch by 6 to 12 inches for proper rain drainage. That gives you a very functional covered outdoor space. For hardware, you need greasable barrel hinges or hardened steel pivot pins at both pivot points. In 2026, serious builders have moved away from standard but hinges because they squeak, seize, and corrode after a few years of road salt and rain exposure. Greasable barrel hinges can be re-lubricated on the trailer and will outlast anything else on the market. You also need safety chains or cables to hold the porch deck at the right angle once deployed and cam latches or barrel bolt latches to secure everything flat during travel. Cost range for a DIY build in 2026: $550 to $950 in materials, depending on size, decking material, and hardware quality. If you pay a welder to help with steel fabrication, add $150 to $300 in labor. Type 2. Retractable fabric awning mounted on the wall or fascia. The second approach uses a retractable fabric awning, the same technology used on RVs, motorhomes, and residential patios, mounted directly to the exterior wall or fascia of the tiny house. When retracted, the awning rolls up into a compact cassette that sits flush against the wall. Fully extended, most residential awnings project 8 to 12 feet outward from the mounting point. This gives you a large shaded area without any structural folding. In 2026, retractable awning pricing is well documented. Manual awnings with a hand crank start at around $1,000 to $1,800. Motorized awnings with push-button or remote operation commonly run between $2,500 and $6,000 for quality residential units. Premium full cassette motorized systems, which protect the fabric inside a sealed housing during travel, typically run between $4,500 and $9,000 installed. Here is a feature worth calling out for 2026. Look for units with smart wind sensor technology. These motorized systems have an onboard anemometer that automatically retracts the awning when it detects gusts over about 25 miles per hour. For THOW owners who are not always home when a storm rolls through, this is not a luxury. It is a safety feature that can save your awning from destruction. For tiny houses on wheels, the key advantage of this type is speed. A motorized awning can extend in under 10 seconds and retract just as fast. There is no setup, no latching, no prop chains. You pull in, hit a button, and your porch roof is deployed. The key disadvantage is that fabric awnings do not give you a solid weather barrier. In heavy rain or real wind, a fabric awning is not the same as a solid roof panel. Most awning manufacturers specify maximum wind ratings between 20 and 35 miles per hour for fabric systems. Exceed that and you need a retract, smart wind sensor or not. Also important for THOW owners, when the awning is retracted, the cassette housing adds a small but real dimension to your wall. For most builds, this is not an issue, since most THOW walls are well within the 8.5 foot width limit. But measure carefully before you spec your system. Type 3. Hinged hardtop or corrugated roof panel systems. The third category is a hybrid, instead of fabric. These systems use solid panels, typically corrugated metal, polycarbonate, or thin plywood with a metal skin, hinged at one or more pivot points, so the entire roof section folds flat against the house wall during transport. The Owl's Nest Tiny House, featured by New Atlas in June 2025, is a useful reference point here. It uses folding roof sections over its loft bedrooms, which is a structural load-bearing assembly. But the underlying engineering principle, hinge panels that fold flat for travel and deploy to full height when parked, translates directly to porch roof accessory systems. The key distinction is load. A loft roof carries live loads and snow loads and requires engineering certification. A porch roof panel carries its own weight and some rain load, which is a much simpler design problem that a careful DIYer can solve with the right hardware. Hardtop hinge systems offer better weather performance than fabric. A solid corrugated metal panel sheds rain and resists wind far better than any awning fabric. The trade-off is weight. A metal panel roof section of 6 by 8 feet in corrugated metal can weigh 40 to 80 pounds depending on gauge, which requires beefy hinges and usually at least 2 people for the initial installation. Some builders have added gas struts or counterweight systems to make the panels easier to raise and lower solo. This is smart engineering and well worth the added $20 to $50 cost. Cost range for a DIY hardtop hinge porch roof in 2026: $500 to $1,200, depending on size and materials. Now here is where I want to slow down, because this is the section that separates a great build from an expensive mistake. The hinge location is everything. On the porch deck side, the hinge attaches at the base of the door threshold, or just below it. This is the pivot point the floor rotates around. If you put it too high, the porch deck will not reach the ground correctly. If you put it too low, you lose structural attachment to the house frame. On the roof panel side, the hinge attaches at or just below the eave line. The panel needs to fold upward and flat against the wall when in travel mode, and fold down at a slight angle when in use mode, so rain runs off rather than pooling. A pitch of 10 to 15 degrees on the deployed roof is typically sufficient for rain shedding without making the structure feel lopsided. The size relationship between porch and roof. Here is the math that trips people up. When both panels are folded up flat against the house wall, they need to fit next to each other without overlapping. That means the depth of the porch panel plus the depth of the roof panel must equal or be less than the vertical wall space between your door bottom and your eave. If you have 80 inches of wall space and you make the porch deck 42 inches deep and the roof 42 inches deep, those two panels will collide in the middle when folded. You need to account for this. The standard approach is to let the roof overhang the porch by 6 to 12 inches so the deployed system looks balanced, and then size the folded panels to fit cleanly without overlap. Hardware load rating. This is where people cheap out and regret it. The hinges on a fold-down porch are carrying real dynamic load, especially during transport when the house is vibrating and flexing on the trailer. Using standard interior door hinges will result in failure. Use greasable barrel hinges or hardened steel pivot pins rated for at least double the expected load. If your porch deck and decking weigh 80 pounds, use hinges rated for at least 160 pounds. Quality weld-on greasable barrel hinges currently run about $30 to $50 each in 2026, so budget accordingly. Safety chains or adjustable cables are non-negotiable. These hold the deployed porch deck at the correct height and prevent it from dropping if a latch fails. Use steel chain with welded links, not S-hooks or lightweight clips. Travel latching. Every fold-down system needs a secure latching mechanism for travel. The porch deck needs to be positively latched up. The roof panel needs to be positively latched flat. Simple hook and eye latches work for light panels. For heavier systems, use barrel bolt latches or lockable cam latches. Some builders also add a secondary ratchet strap as a backup for the first several road trips until they are confident in their hardware. Let me give you some real examples from the community that show what this looks like in practice. Molecule Tiny Homes, one of the builders that popularized this concept in the United States, built a THOW with a porch that flips up and down on a heavy hinge system. Their design shows how clean and finished a commercial quality fold-down porch can look when done right. No rough edges, no visible chains, just a clean wall when folded and a proper porch when deployed. Tennessee Tiny Homes has similarly incorporated fold-down porch systems into multiple builds, with the deck and roof working as a coordinated unit. Multiple builders have noted that a full-width porch of 42 to 48 inches deep gives you enough room to actually place outdoor chairs and use the space, compared to the standard 3x3 decorative steps that most THOWs ship with. The Owl's Nest THOW, reported on by New Atlas in June 2025, illustrates how folding panel engineering can be applied throughout a tiny house build. Its loft roof sections fold to meet the 13.6 road height limit and deploy for full headroom when parked. The porch version of this same idea, where a roof panel folds flat for travel and swings down for shade and rain protection at the site, is exactly what we have been describing. The engineering principle is the same, even though the structural loads differ. And from the tiny house talk community, one builder described an awning system on their THOW this way. The awning is composed of two sections that fold down flat to either side to leave the deck open when desired, and they fold back flat against the wall for road travel to keep the house legal. Simple, elegant, and proven over multiple moves. Let me give you a straight cost picture for 2026 so you can plan your build budget accurately. Steel prices stabilized at a higher floor after recent inflation cycles, and quality hardware costs more than it did a few years ago. Here are the real numbers. DIY fold-down deck and solid roof panel system. Steel tubing, 2x2 square stock for the porch frame, $140 to $220. Composite or cedar decking for the floor surface, $80 to $200 depending on size. Corrugated metal for the roof panel, $40 to $90. Greasable barrel hinges or hardened steel pivot pins, 4 to 6 required at $30 to $50 each, $120 to $240. Safety chains, cam latches, and miscellaneous hardware, $50 to $90. Total DIY material cost for 2026, $550 to $950. If you pay a welder to help with steel fabrication, add $150 to $300 in labor. If you use reclaimed steel tubing or salvaged corrugated metal, you can bring total cost down significantly. But always inspect reclaimed steel for rust, weld integrity, and wall thickness before trusting it on a moving vehicle. Retractable fabric awning system. Entry-level manual awning kit, $1,000 to $1,800. Mid-range motorized awning, $2,500 to $5,000. Premium full cassette motorized system with smart wind sensor, for $1,500 to $9,000 installed. Professional installation, if needed, $200 to $600 additional. A note on the per square foot math. Most homeowners in 2026 spend between $1,250 and $2,750 per square foot installed for a quality residential retractable awning system. For a typical THOW application covering roughly 48 square feet, run those numbers and see where you land before you commit to a system. DIY hardtop hinge panel system. Materials and hardware typically land between $500 to $1,200 depending on panel size, material choice, and whether you add gas struts or counterweights for easier solo operation. Bottom line, even at the updated 2026 material costs, this remains one of the most affordable, meaningful upgrades you can make to a tiny house on wheels. You are adding real weather-protected outdoor living space for under $1,000 on the DIY solid panel route. That is an extraordinary return. I promised earlier to tell you the mistakes that kill these projects. Here they are. Mistake 1, ignoring the folded height. You can have the most beautiful fold-down porch in the world, but if the porch deck and roof panel together push your total THOW height over 13 feet 6 inches when folded, you are not road legal without a special permit. Measure your total height with everything folded before you ever drive it anywhere. 13.6 is your ceiling. Do not guess. Mistake 2, using wood for the primary frame. Wood is heavy and it moves with moisture. A wood frame porch that fits perfectly in summer may bind or gap in winter. Steel tubing is the correct choice for the structural frame. Use wood only for the decking surface where weight savings are less critical. Mistake 3, no secondary latch or strap for travel. One latch can fail. If your porch deck drops at highway speed, you have a serious accident risk. Always use 2 independent securing mechanisms during transport. Mistake 4, installing a fabric awning without checking wind ratings. Fabric awnings are not designed for sustained wind events. If you are parked somewhere with regular high winds, a fabric awning will fail over time. In those climates, a hard panel system is the smarter choice. Mistake 5, making the roof panel too heavy to operate solo. If it takes 2 people or a mechanical assistant to raise and lower your porch roof every time you move, you will eventually stop using it. Build for real life, not ideal conditions. If your roof panel exceeds about 40 pounds, add gas struts or a simple counterweight system. Mistake 6, ignoring tongue weight and trailer balance. This one does not get talked about enough. Adding a heavy steel porch deck and roof panel to the rear end or side of your home changes your trailer's center of gravity. In 2026, there are more reports of DIYers accidentally creating trailer sway issues by mounting 150 to 200 pounds of steel and decking behind the rear axle without accounting for the counterbalance effect on the hitch. Before you finalize your porch position, calculate the added weight. Talk to your trailer manufacturer about your axle placement and make sure your tongue weight stays within your tow vehicle's rated capacity. This is a safety issue, not just an engineering nicety. Alright, I promised you at the start that I would tell you which type of fold-down porch roof system gives you the best combination of weather protection and fastest fold time. Here is my honest take based on everything the community has figured out. For pure weather protection, the DIY fold-down solid roof panel wins. A properly pitched corrugated metal panel sheds rain, handles wind better than fabric, and will outlast any awning fabric by years. If you are full-timing in your THOW and you park in one spot for weeks or months at a time, a solid roof panel is the right call. For fastest deployment and cleanest aesthetics, a motorized full cassette retractable awning with a smart wind sensor wins. You pull up, push a button, and in 10 seconds your porch is covered. No chains, no props, no muscle required. The sensor handles the unexpected storm while you are away. If you're a weekend mover who relocates frequently and you do not want to fuss with hardware every time. This is your system. For best value, meaning the lowest cost per square foot of protected outdoor living space, the classic DIY fold-down system wins by a wide margin. $550 to $950 in materials for 40-plus square feet of covered porch space is an extraordinary return on investment, even at 2026 steel prices. My actual recommendation for most THOW builders watching this channel: start with the DIY fold-down solid panel system. Build it well. Use proper steel tubing, greasable barrel hinges, and gas struts if the panel is heavy. Live with it for a season. Then if you find you want faster deployment and are willing to invest more, add a retractable fabric awning as a secondary shade layer for the days when full rain protection is not needed. You get the best of both worlds: solid weather protection from the hard panel when you really need it, and fast casual shade from the awning for everyday use. There you have it. Fold down and retractable porch roofs for tiny houses on wheels. Broken down from the engineering through the real 2026 costs, through the real builds, and straight to the honest answer on which one actually works best. The outdoor living question is one of the most underrated design decisions in THOW planning. Most builders spend months obsessing over the interior and then bolt on a tiny 3-step porch at the last minute. Do not make that mistake. Plan your porch system from the beginning. Size it right. Use greasable barrel hinges and proper steel hardware. Watch your tone weight, and you'll have a feature that genuinely transforms how you live in your tiny home. If this video helped you, please give a thumbs up. It takes 2 seconds, and it makes a real difference for this channel. Drop a comment below and tell me which system you're planning to use on your build, or if you have already built a fold-down porch, tell us how it has held up. I read every comment. And if you want to go deeper on THOW design, building on a budget, and the upgrades that are actually worth the money, hit subscribe and check out the next video. I will see you there.